Kathy here. Welcome to my channel. Back to my kitchen. Today I wanted to make yogurt. I need to refresh our supply, and I thought I would share with you my process to make yogurt and my preferred cultures and how I do it now. It has changed over time, so we will get started and I'll share a bit about the equipment, the cultures that I use in the process, and some lessons learned as I've been doing this over the last, I've been making yogurt different ways with my Instapot, with soy milk versus dairy milk, etc. So lots of lessons learned, but I've just gotten the E-Cuisine yogurt maker in the past 3 months, June, so 4 months. I got this, and the cultures I'm using, I do use their E-Cuisine cultures, which I do recommend. My husband and I both have said that the yogurt tastes fabulous. And you might wonder why I make yogurt. You can buy it in the store. Yes, you can. And what I have found is a lot of it is cost, because you can buy milk, even buying milk in the cultures, ultimately for the quantity you make, it is more economical, but the taste is phenomenal. And as I mentioned before, I was, non-dairy for a while, so I was using West Soy organic unsweetened soy milk. And but what I found with that, I probably just didn't put enough time into the investigating the cultures for the soy milk. So what I would do is I would buy Greek yogurt, one serving of the unsweetened Greek yogurt at the store. And for the soy milk, I would put it in 1 quart jars, fill 2 of those, and I would use a tablespoon, or probably 2 tablespoons, 2 heaping tablespoons of the Greek yogurt, Greek dairy yogurt. So, I wasn't allergic to dairy. I was just a little dairy sensitive, so there was no hesitation for me to use the dairy yogurt to culture my soy milk. But I would fill 2 32-ounce wide mouth mason jars, use two heaping tablespoons of each in each jar of the Greek yogurt, and that is what would give me the firmer yogurt consistency that I enjoyed and I liked. Now, what it didn't give me was the best. Well, I shouldn't say not the best, a different flavor. So of course it was soy milk, unsweetened, organic soy milk, West Soy brand. I love it. It's just soybeans and water. If you need to go that way or you choose to have a dairy alternative, I highly recommend it. But it did taste really good, and that's what we used for a long time. And then, now that I've been on this journey to healing with freshly milled flour, I find that my gut, it's so much better. I don't have a dairy intolerance anymore. So for that reason, I still do my soy milk. I got used to it. I like it in my chai tea lattes. So I still do a little bit of the soy milk, but for the yogurt, I've gone to full fat dairy. I recommend, and the E-Cuisine brand was recommended by Sue Becker, Bread Beckers, and once we tried it, the flavor is just, it is phenomenal. So it does matter. You can get better flavor, and maybe it's just quality ingredients. I've always learned that the fewer the ingredients, the better quality you want them to be, because it's not there. Nothing is going to be hiding in your end product if you only have a few ingredients in it. So with the E-Cuisine, you can get this reasonably priced. I think I got it online. Oh, and where did I get it? It was really reasonably priced at one location, and I ordered it online. So there was a significant price difference. And the E-Cuisine cultures, my original batch, I got through Bread Beckers because they had it, and I just happened to get it while I was there. So what is interesting about this package of cultures is 1 packet in my 42 ounces of milk, and I would make 7 jars. Well, what I can do is I can use that last jar of yogurt to then make the next 7 jars. And when you do that 3 times, then you've essentially made 21 jars of yogurt. That is my deduction from experience and reading all of the information that is included, which I find hilarious because they don't just spell that out. You just have to figure it out. But yeah, that's what I've taken away from it. Now, if I am somehow missing the mark and I could be making 3 times this many out of one packet, then I'm not getting really much value for my money then. So what the next second lesson learned that I recommend is if you buy the cultures, because of course you could buy these cultures and use your Instant Pot or any other method of using or of making yogurt. So cultures independent of the actual warmer that the jars fit in can be used. What I've learned though is the ingredients on the eCuisine box of cultures is different, just a little, than the packet that comes with the machine. And what I learned from my experience is when I followed the instructions on the packet, I did not have good results. And I think what happened is it ultimately it's too hot. So the instructions on the box says heat the milk to 180 degrees, let the milk cool to 111 to 113 degrees Fahrenheit, and then introduce your culture, whisk it in, and then you put it in the jars, and then the jars go in here for X number of hours to formulate the yogurt. Well, then when so this one it didn't do well. It seemed like it was really, really soft, runny yogurt. And then when I looked at this instructions the next time, it says heat to the 180 Fahrenheit. Same thing as far as the heating, but this one says to let it cool to 95 degrees Fahrenheit and inoculate your milk with the culture. Lightly whisk it in, and then of course pour your milk into the jars into the warmer, and then you make the yogurt. Well, that batch turned out great. Same packet, so it's not an age thing. So I'm pretty convinced that, well, I am convinced because now I've made many more batches, and using these instructions of heating to 180, letting it cool to 95, adding the cultures, we get really, and I can show you here, this is the end result. Get really thick, nice, creamy, and as I said, the flavor is just, it's phenomenal. And I switched, well, for a few reasons, because I had heard again from Bread Beckers that this was a nice quality yogurt. I'd read it online, that this makes good yogurt. My mason jars and my Instant Pot were doing fine. However, I liked the idea of having the servings already, just grab and go. How are we these days? The quicker we can grab it out of the fridge, do a little bit of prep work, consume it, and move on is the goal. So all I've done is essentially change the storage container because this warmer is just doing the same thing that my Instant Pot does, and it has the yogurt feature. There's probably plenty other ways to use other equipment that you have in your house to make yogurt. I don't know if I would think maybe a dehydrator, oven. There's other ways, but I have not done them. So my two have been the Instant Pot with my mason jars, and the eCuisine with these little cute little jars, which I do enjoy, and we like being able to just grab one out and eat when we're ready. The other thing I'll point out is the lid for the eCuisine has the newer ones, not all of them. If you get the older version, it doesn't have this, but it is nice because you set it either for the day you considered expiring or the day you made it, and then that way you know that if it's too old, but it's yogurt, it's already spoiled. So I would say just check it. I don't necessarily go by dates or guidelines. I let my nose and my eyes and my taste, for the most part, make those decisions for me. So in this process, I have my scale. It's just easier. You can do it without a scale. You can do it with a measuring cup. It's just, it's a way for me to determine if I have the right milk. You want to make sure you have clean, probably stainless steel. I don't know that it matters. It does say though that you want to make sure that they're clean because you don't want any bad bacteria interfering with your your prep process. So in this case, again, going by these instructions that I trust more than what's on the back of the packet, we need 42 ounces of dairy milk. And in this case, I'm going to say dairy. I have not used these cultures with anything else. Now, what I have done lately is I like a particular probiotic. And I've just, in the past, I will open a probiotic capsule and add it to my yogurt, just thinking that I'm increasing the good bacteria and using the bacteria, the bifido something. It's a particular strain of good bacteria that I know my gut happens to be happy with. So I will open that up and sprinkle it in too. So in this case, I'm using Organic Valley, again, whole fat, full fat milk. This is what we like. And it is cold out of the fridge. I'm just going to get this on ounces, and we're going to get 42 ounces in this pot. So this particular scale does not do ounces, so I know just in fully ounces. So I know I have to do 2 pounds and 6 ounces, and you can use a measuring cup to get your 42 ounces in this pot. So this will go on probably medium to low. I'm going to say, well, you need to watch it because I don't know that it's as important when you're heating it. I mean, it says the directions say heat it to 180 degrees. I'm not even fully convinced why that is, because we're using pasteurized milk. It's not like we're necessarily killing anything, especially today when milk is ultra pasteurized. So it's already been heated to kill everything that is in it. But what I like about this is it does give options. You can add powdered milk to cold milk and make this yogurt. You don't have to heat it, so it does give you options. It says heating ensures a firmer yogurt familiar to most American tastes. So this is a French company, French based. So they're used to eating, less firm yogurt. And as I said before, I like firm yogurt because I typically put honey in my yogurt. And when you're adding honey, it's going to thin it pretty significantly. So if you start with thin, then you're essentially drinking yogurt soup. But for softer yogurt without heating, you do not have to heat the pasteurized milk. However, you must make sure that the milk is at room temperature, so not cold. And before pouring into the glass jars, you need to increase the time. So it does take longer, according to this, 8 hours for whole milk, 10 hours for 2%, and up to 12 for skim milk. I have found that I need mine to go, even heating it with whole milk, where this says 6 hours, it doesn't work. I have to have more time. It takes about, I think now I've just gotten to where I do 13 hours in the warmer. I do add a couple tablespoons of powdered milk because, again, it gives me that texture that I like and the consistency. I've grabbed out the powdered milk. This is what I have and keep on hand. I only use it for this. Will last a while. I keep it in a cool pantry, so I expect that it's going to last. And you keep, at least I have my instant read thermometer that I do for everything, and my cake tester when I need it. So I keep this on hand to check for the 180 degrees Fahrenheit temperature. And on this range, being an induction range, it gets there pretty quick. And I like to stir it to make sure that I'm not just getting, the surface temperature or too close to the bottom. So yeah, we're already at 120. climbing really quick. So just keep an eye on it. This is why I would recommend you stay close. Have your thermometer handy. And as I was saying, it recommends 180 on the heating side. I don't know how important that is. If you go to 190, 200, I don't know that it's a big deal. It's just the hotter you get it, the longer it's going to take to bring it back down to 95 degrees Fahrenheit. That is the time where you want to be really aware of the temperature, because I think that the cultures are sensitive, the bacteria are sensitive to the temperature, where, this packet said a 111 to 113, and I'm convinced that was too warm, and it killed off some of the good bacteria as I put it in. This one says 95 is what you're looking for the cool temperature when you put the bacteria, the cultures in there. And so that's when you'll want to be really present with your milk and aware of what's going on, so that it doesn't get too cool. There again, I don't know. It's not like, if it's too cool, it's not, the killing it is the concern. So I think if 111, 113 was too warm and was killing off some of my bacteria, 95, it was happy. Well, if it went to 90, would it matter? Probably not, because I'm going to put these cultures in. Actually, this time I'm not going to use the cultures. I had those out to show you. This is a fresh one-use batch from cultures, so I'm going to mix this in. So when this gets to 180 degrees, then what I will do is I have a really large stainless steel bowl, because I'm impatient and I don't want to wait for it to slowly. It's surprising. It does surprise me how long it takes 180 degree milk to drop to 95, unless you encourage it along. And I encourage it by filling a huge stainless steel bowl with ice and sitting the pan on top. Now, the directions do say you want to be careful and make sure that your jars are clean. We are almost there. The directions do say that you want to be aware of your jars, make sure that they're clean. I do put mine in the dishwasher, and I do store them. So these have been storing for a week and a half. I do have two sets. I have two sets of these jars so that I can rotate. While I have one in the fridge using it, then the other can be making, and I just kind of have this system where I'm rotating. This really quickly on this induction range got up to 180 degrees. We'll get the stainless steel bowl and we will sit this on top of ice to really drop it quickly to 95 degrees. Okay, here, large workhorse, my stainless steel bowl. I recommend a really large one. It comes in handy, assuming you have room. I know that we all struggle a bit with room in our kitchen, so you got to have room for some of these things. If you have room, I recommend it. And this is how I do this. Just let it sit under the ice under it. And what I was saying, I do kind of watch this too, keep an eye on it, because that ice is going to melt pretty quickly. And then this is going to shift, as you can see it already shifting. And I don't want to spill all that milk, because that would be a terrible mess. What is it they say? Spilt milk. It doesn't matter if it's just a little bit. It looks like a huge amount. I'm looking at this. What was I going to say? I don't think it was really anything that I'm going to remember. So I will share that for yogurt, honey is great. If you've never had honey in yogurt, I do recommend it. This also talks about flavored yogurt. You can use this to make flavored yogurt. Gosh, and I'm sure you saw me jump. The ice popped and startled me. Ice startles so easily. So yes, you can use preserves, other flavored syrups. It's just like everything else. You can use whatever you want. And I think if you have a favorite trusted preserve strawberry jam, anything like that that you have a favorite, then you can flavor your yogurt, and then you've added one more thing that you like the flavor of. That's why I do so much of my own home cooking is I can control the ingredients and I know what I'm eating. So that's why I try to make it myself from scratch, and then that way I'm controlling the ingredients. And all I'm doing here is sloshing this around, again, trying to make sure that I'm getting an even temperature and not right on the bottom where I know it's the coldest. Okay, let me open this because I think we're close enough in temperature. As I said, though, this is the important one. I don't want it to get too cold. Yep, we're there. So out of this bowl, sit it over here. And this is our powdered milk. As I said, this is not a requirement. It's just, I got it because I didn't know I wanted to continue heating the milk. And it says that we can use powdered milk and not heat it. So I have not gone that route yet because it does take more powdered milk. But I found if I just use a couple tablespoons of the powdered milk, it still even further enhances the texture. So I have the powdered milk. No matter how much I think I will get everything and have it ready, I forget something. So we have our little whisk. So I've whisked in 2 tablespoons of dry milk. Let me double check our temperature again because I don't want a chance being too hot. And I am at 93, so a little bit cooler. And this is what we're using. And I have my cool little spatula, spoonula thing here. And I don't even know the brand to be able to tell you. But we are using this one. So just scraping in this yogurt. So one from the last batch is sacrificed to make the next batch. I think that's so cool. And this particular one already has the bacteria from my favorite probiotic, and I don't have it here to be able to speak to it, but I was, originally suggested to use Align as one of the first probiotics that came on the market, and I still today find that my gut seems to like it best. But I've used others. There are plenty of good probiotics on the market. So, yep, I emptied that jar. It's in here. So now we are culturing, and I am making a mess as I culture. Seems like I would get better. Any mess I make is just a mess I have to clean up, right? So we're just going to make sure that this is mixed in well. And another thing I've already learned about myself is even though this pot has these nice little pour spouts on both sides, great pot. They think of everybody. Right side, left side, right hand, left side pour. So it's great. However, I cannot pour this yogurt into these jars without making a horrendous mess. So I have this stainless steel, nice little spatula ladle, rather, that I've had forever and ever. It doesn't have a name brand on it, so I can't tell you what it is. And this is just all you do. And I'm still making a mess because I am not doing a slow job at this. But you can. You don't have to make a mess. And take care of I remember somebody teaching me one time that try to take care of your future self. Because if you don't, whatever mess you make now, your current self is just putting it on your future self. And I do think about that. I find it interesting. But I think that's more, somebody told me about the Ohio method. And Ohio stands for only handle it once. So if you touch something, take it and put it where it goes and I'm terrible at this. I tell myself all the time I'm going to take care of my future self and not put it down, not make a mess, not clutter, and only handle it once, and I don't do it. I do sometimes. I'm trying to do better. It's all we can do, right? It's all we can do is try to do better. So we're almost done. That's how quick this has gone. I'm scooping whatever the quantity of this ladle is, about 3.5 to 4 in each one of these. I've left some room just because I've learned that sometimes I don't do the best job getting a full 42 ounces of milk. Now we are probably to the point where I can pour this now and not make a mess. I hope so. Yeah, it's still going to drip a little. So there we go. And I have just enough in here that I'm going to top these off a little bit. And so the other thing to share with this process, these you can feel these more full. I like to leave a little bit of room in the top because I'm going to come in and add some honey. I do some powdered medication, so I get one of these out, powdered meds, honey, stir it up, enjoy it. So what you, with this machine, it's pretty simple. It is a warmer, so you're not cooking anything. So, yep, just a warmer. I'll plug it in here so you can see. And it is simply on and on. And then it increases the number of hours that you will have the warmer keeping the yogurt at the temperature needed. And then that was actually start. So I misspoke. So that clears it. And then you set the number of hours. I do 13. And then when I am ready, I will hit start. So when you are starting this, the yogurt containers sit in here without lids. So no lids. And I hope that I stirred this in well, because it looks like this particular one has little chunks in it. And does that mean that I didn't mix in the other yogurt well? If I didn't, then what's going to happen is one of these will be really firm and the other ones will not be. The other thing I know I didn't do is clean off the outside, but that is okay because it's contained. If a little bit of milk is on the outside, I'll clean it off when I put the other lids on. But this is a 2-lid system, which we've decided all it does is keep the moisture, the condensation that collects in here. Something about this system must keep all of that on the perimeter, and it makes it really nice so that you don't want that condensation to drop in your containers as you take it off. So this is it. It is covered, so no jars, no lids on the jar. These 2 lids are in place, the one and then this one on top. I've got this set for 13 hours. I press start, and it is going to sit here. And what will happen in the morning when I come down, it may even sit, I've had it turn off, and then it just sits here a little bit longer, which is okay because, again, as I said, you're culturing, you're making yogurt, so you're essentially intentionally spoiling the food, if you will, but I know that's kind of gross. But yeah, I have found in my experience 13 hours works best, even though the brochure will tell you 8 with the whole milk. You can, of course, play around with it. If you go less time, it will be thinner, and that is personal preference. What do you like? So yeah, this will sit here. I'll check it first thing in the morning, and then once this lid comes off, then these lids, nice and clean, I will put these on. I will set the date for tomorrow's date, and then these will all go in the fridge. And then we'll start over again in a few days. Okay, then I think that's everything. As with all of this, if you have any questions, I'd love to see them in the comments. If there's anything you want to see in the Whole Foods, the bread, whatever space in the kitchen, let me know and I'll work on it. And then if you enjoyed this, it blessed you, I'd appreciate if you wanted to subscribe, if you would subscribe, like the video, share it with someone else who would be blessed. And this is our devotional minute. Sarah Young, Jesus Calling is what I'm reading from. And today it says, linger in my presence a while. Rein in your impulses to plunge into the day's activities. Begin your day alone with me is essential preparation for success. A great athlete takes time to prepare himself mentally for the feat ahead of him before he moves a muscle. Similarly, your time of being still in my presence equips you for the day ahead of you. Only I know what will happen to you this day. I have arranged the events you will encounter as you go along your way. If you are not adequately equipped for the journey, you will grow weary and lose heart. Relax with me while I ready you for action. I needed to hear this today because I am bad about maybe sometimes putting him at the end of the day. Ephesians 2:10 is one reference verse, and Hebrews 12:3. So again, I hope this and learning about yogurt has blessed you, and you have a fabulous day, and I hope to see you next time.